The 1971 United States quarter dollar is part of a long-running Washington quarter series, which has featured the portrait of George Washington since 1932. The D mint mark on this coin indicates it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary mints responsible for circulating coinage in the United States. By 1971, the quarter had transitioned from its earlier 90% silver composition, used before 1965, to a copper-nickel clad structure, meaning the coin is made of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of cupronickel. This change was driven by rising silver prices in the 1960s, making silver coins too costly for everyday circulation. The obverse front of the 1971 D quarter displays a left-facing bust of George Washington, originally designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Above Washington's head appears the word Liberty, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed to the left of his neck. The date 1971 is positioned at the bottom, and the small D mint mark appears just to the right of the ribbon tying Washington's hair at the back. On the reverse back, the coin features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing readiness for war and desire for peace. This reverse design is also attributed to John Flanagan and remained in use until 1998 before being replaced by the 50-state quarters program. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, with E Pluribus Unum, Latin for out of many one, displayed just below it, and the denomination quarter dollar at the bottom. In terms of specifications, the coin has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a reeded edge groove sides, which historically helped prevent coin clipping. The mintage of the 1971 D quarter was quite large, over 258 million pieces, meaning it is generally common in circulated condition. However, an untitled, or more accurately uncirculated example, often labeled as mint state or MS condition, can be more desirable to collectors, especially if it retains its original mint luster, sharp details, and has no wear from circulation. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company can carry a modest premium, though they are still not considered rare compared to earlier silver issues. Value depends heavily on condition. A worn circulated coin is typically worth only face value, 25 cents, while a bright uncirculated specimen might be worth a few dollars, and high-grade examples with exceptional quality could reach higher prices in collector markets. Error coins, such as those with off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual planchet flaws, can significantly increase value, though such errors are relatively rare. The historical context of the 1971 quarter places it in a transitional era of U.S. coinage, reflecting economic pressures and changes in metal composition. While it lacks intrinsic silver value, it remains an important representation of modern American coinage and is widely collected as part of date and mint mark sets of Washington quarters. For beginners in coin collecting numismatics, the 1971 D quarter is often an accessible entry point due to its availability, affordability, and clear design features, making it a useful example for learning how to assess coin condition, mint marks, and overall quality. Next top. The 1974 United States quarter dollar is part of the long-standing Washington quarter program, one of the most recognizable and widely circulated coin designs in American history, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington. By 1974, this coin had already undergone a major transition in composition, shifting away from the earlier 90% silver standard, used until 1964, to a copper-nickel clad structure introduced in 1965 due to rising silver costs. This means the 1974 quarter is made with a pure copper core bonded between two outer layers of cupronickel, giving it a silvery appearance while maintaining affordability for mass production. The coin was struck at multiple mints, including the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, Denver Mint, marked with a small d, and San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, typically for proof coins. On the obverse front, the design features a left-facing profile portrait of George Washington, created by sculptor John Flanagan. Above Washington's head appears the word Liberty, a key inscription symbolizing the foundational principle of the United States, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is engraved to the left of his portrait, reflecting both historical tradition and cultural identity. The date 1974 is placed at the bottom of the obverse, and depending on the mint of origin, the mint mark, if present, appears to the right of Washington's tied hair ribbon. The reverse back of the coin continues the classic heraldic eagle design, also by John Flanagan, depicting an eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing the balance between military readiness and the pursuit of peace. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, while the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is positioned just above the eagle's head. At the bottom is the denomination quarter dollar. In terms of physical specifications, the 1974 quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a reeded edge, which consists of fine grooves around the rim, originally intended to prevent the shaving of precious metals. The mintage of 1974 quarters was very high across all mints, with hundreds of millions produced, making them extremely common in circulation even decades later. Because of this abundance, most circulated 1974 quarters hold only their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples, often referred to as mint state MS coins, are more desirable among collectors, particularly those that exhibit strong luster, minimal contact marks, and sharp detail. Coins graded by professional organizations, such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, can achieve higher values, especially in grades like MS65 or above, although even then they are generally modestly priced compared to rarer coins. Proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, which are specially struck with polished dies and mirror-like finishes, are also collected and typically have higher aesthetic appeal. Additionally, certain error coins, such as double die varieties, off-center strikes, or coins struck on incorrect planchets, can carry significant premiums if authenticated. The 1974 quarter represents an era of modern U.S. coinage where practicality and economic considerations shape design and material choices, yet it still preserves traditional symbols and inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, which connect to the broader historical and cultural identity of the United States. For collectors and enthusiasts of numismatics, the 1974 quarter is an accessible and educational piece, useful for studying mint marks, grading standards, and the characteristics of clad coinage, while also serving as a tangible link to American history and everyday commerce during the next top. The 1967 United States quarter dollar is an important issue within the historic Washington quarter series, a design first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, and still widely recognized today. The year 1967 falls within a unique transitional period in American coinage history, marked by major changes in composition and minting practices. Most notably, the 1967 quarter was produced without any mint mark, regardless of where it was struck, due to a temporary policy by the United States Mint aimed at discouraging coin hoarding during a nationwide coin shortage in the mid-1960s. This means that even though coins were minted in facilities such as the Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and San Francisco Mint, none of them carry identifying mint marks, making them visually uniform in that respect. Another major shift already in effect by 1967 was the elimination of silver from circulating quarters. Beginning in 1965, quarters were struck using a copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of cupronickel. This change was implemented because the rising value of silver made it impractical for everyday coinage, and the 1967 quarter fully reflects this modern composition. On the obverse front, the coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Above the portrait appears the inscription Liberty, symbolizing the foundational principle of the nation, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," is positioned to the left of Washington's neck. The date 1967 is displayed prominently at the bottom. The absence of a mint mark on this obverse is one of the defining characteristics of the coin for that year. On the reverse back, the coin displays a heraldic eagle with wings outstretched, also designed by John Flanagan. The eagle holds arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, representing both military strength and the desire for peace. Surrounding this central image are the inscriptions United States of America at the top, E Pluribus Unum, Latin for out of many, one, above the eagle, and $quarter at the bottom. The coin's physical specifications include a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a reeded edge, which features small grooves along the rim, a design element originally intended to prevent the shaving of precious metal from coins when they were made of silver or gold. The mintage of the 1967 quarter was extremely high, with over 1.5 billion pieces produced, making it one of the most common quarters in U.S. history. As a result, most examples found in circulation today are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins, often referred to as mint state MS, can carry a premium, particularly those with strong luster, minimal surface marks, and sharp detail. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading organizations, such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, may be valued higher, though they are still generally affordable compared to rarer dates. Special Mint Set SMS coins were also produced in 1967, replacing traditional proof sets during this period. And these coins often exhibit a higher quality strike and finish, making them more attractive to collectors. Additionally, error coins, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet anomalies, can be significantly more valuable if authenticated. Overall, the 1967 $quarter represents a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage, reflecting both economic pressures and changes in minting policy, while retaining traditional inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, which connect it to the broader identity and heritage of the United States. For collectors and students of numismatics, it serves as a highly accessible and historically meaningful example of modern Clad coinage and the evolution of American currency during the 20th century. Next top. The 1977 United States $quarter is a representative example of modern American coinage within the long-running Washington Quarter series, which has featured the portrait of George Washington since its introduction in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of his birth. The D Mint mark on the 1977 quarter indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary production facilities of the United States Mint responsible for circulating coins across the country. By 1977, the quarter was firmly established in its post-1965 copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core bonded between outer layers of cupronickel, a change that had been implemented to address rising silver prices and the resulting removal of silver from circulating coinage. This gives the coin its familiar silvery appearance, while keeping intrinsic metal value low enough for everyday use. The obverse front of the coin displays a left-facing profile portrait of George Washington, designed by American sculptor John Flanagan, whose design has become one of the most enduring images in U.S. numismatics. Above Washington's head appears the word Liberty, symbolizing the foundational principle of the nation, while the inscription, In God We Trust, is placed to the left of his neck. The date 1977 is positioned at the bottom of the obverse, and the small D mint mark appears to the right of the ribbon tying Washington's hair, indicating its origin at the Denver facility. The reverse back features the classic heraldic eagle design, also created by John Flanagan, showing an eagle with wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing the dual themes of military readiness and peace. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, while the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many one, is inscribed above the eagle's head. The denomination $quarter appears at the bottom of the reverse. The physical specifications of the 1977 D quarter include a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a reeded edge composed of fine grooves along the rim, a feature originally designed to deter the clipping of precious metal when coins were made of silver. The mintage of the 1977 D quarter was very high, with hundreds of millions of coins produced, making it a common issue in circulation and widely available to collectors. Because of this abundance, most circulated examples are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins, referred to as mint state MS, can carry a modest premium, especially those with strong original mint luster, minimal contact marks, and well-defined details. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services, such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, are more desirable among collectors, though they are still generally affordable compared to earlier silver quarters or rare varieties. While the 1977 D quarter is not known for major widespread varieties, occasional mint errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet defects, can increase a coin's value significantly if authenticated. Historically, the coin reflects a stable period in U.S. currency production following the major transitions of the 1960s, when the composition change to Clad coinage had already been fully adopted. It retains traditional inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, which connect it to the broader heritage and identity of the United States, while its mass production and everyday use make it a familiar object in daily commerce during the late 20th century. For collectors and enthusiasts of numismatics, the 1977 D quarter is an accessible and educational coin, ideal for studying mint marks, grading standards, and the characteristics of Clad coinage, while also serving as a tangible representation of American history and economic policy during